guys, welcome back. We're here to do the quarter year crisis tag. Now, I realize I'm quite a bit late by like 2 months for this tag, but I want to do this tag anyways. So, hey, we're just going to go ahead and do it. And then in about and then in about a month, we'll do the midlife crisis tag. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into this. Question number 1 is, how many books have you read so far this year? And I have read 74 books. Question number 2, have you found a book that might be your favorite 2024 book? This is really difficult, and I feel like my answer is not really going to be fair. But I'm also having like the very best year ever of reading because I'm reading so many books I'm really, really enjoying. I'm going to end up going with the Throne of Glass series. So far, I have read 2, and I'm on to the novella, the group of novella books. And of course, I plan on continuing on with the series throughout this year. So it's not entirely fair to be like grouping the series together as a whole. But I also found this meme and I thought it was really funny. And it had something to do with the fact of like I wish I could find it, but I probably won't be able to find it. But it's about like when you go to the bookstore and you buy like the entire series of a book. It's really just like buying one book, right? Because you can't really have one without the other because they all go together for, the full picture. So anyways, I thought it was pretty spot on. So that's my answer. Question number, 3. Any least favorite books this year? Yes. Okay. I have 2. The first one is Crave by Tracy Wolff. I've been putting off reading this book for so long because I knew that it wasn't going to be great. I knew it wasn't going to be well written. But I ended up reading it because I'm more on the hunt for more books like Twilight. And there was just this gnawing feeling of like not knowing what Crave is about. Plus they've published 6, 7 books or something in the series. So I'm like, well, somebody obviously likes it. Maybe I will. So I gave it a chance and I just did not realize how tragically bad it was going to be. So it's definitely like Twilight fan fiction. It takes place in like the mountains in Alaska. You have this girl who moves up there to like live with her uncle or something. She ends up finding out she's like this super being. And it's not just about vampires though. They like include like a dragon person. It's just like elite. It's like this magical school kind of setting. And there's like all these different characters. It gave me Legacy vibes. And I'm gotta say I'm not a huge fan of that series, Legacy. Yeah, the love story was atrocious. It was horrible. It was so insta-love. They're all just such annoying characters. And morbidly, I kind of want to maybe pick up the next book. I don't know why. I don't know why I would do that to myself, but that's probably one of the worst ones. I have one other one as well that I actually recently just talked about, and it is called 7 Empty Houses by Samantha Schweblin. And I didn't really have high expectations for this book because I didn't really know anything about it. I did end up picking it up because it was talking about that it was supposed to be this book that has the house as a symbol, as this place that's really safe. And it's supposed to challenge that idea with a bunch of stories of where that safety is disrupted. It's kind of written like a short story collection, but it ended up being like the most ridiculous piece of crap I've ever read. Like especially the very last story of this little girl who takes off her underwear. No, the dad takes her underwear and starts waving it out of the car window while they're driving to the hospital like a flag. And then this girl goes off with this stranger who gives her a pair of black underwear. And I'm picturing this like little girl. I don't know how old this girl is. But then she also starts like lifting her skirt, showing off her black underwear. It was the most bizarre story ever. So that probably actually is even worse than Crave. Because at least Crave, wasn't trying to be serious. The next question is the most read genre of the year. And that would have to be fantasy, which is amazing. I am back in my lane reading the books that were made for me. The next question is a book that surprised you. I have 2 for this. Well, one really. That would be Of Mice of Men by John Steinbeck. And if you have been following along watching every single one of my videos, I must have mentioned this book so many times. So I apologize. But again, this one has been a really big surprise because I read this many years ago. I hated it, loathed it. If anyone asked me what my worst favorite book was, it was always this book. And now this book has become a favorite of mine because it is so good. But I do think it has to be just because of reading as an adult. I have a much different perspective on the world and history and mental health and different kinds of people and stuff like that than I did when I was younger. So let's see. The other one I had put on here was Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. And that's because this book, honestly, I didn't really know a lot about it. So it's this world where there were robots, and then they decided that they didn't want to serve humans anymore. So they went off and lived on their own. And they're basically, to the humans, they're almost just like a myth at this point. No one's seen a robot in so many years. You're following this guy. He's a tea monk. Oh, maybe he's not a guy. They said he's non-binary. Anyways, you're following this character who is a tea monk, and he ends up running into the first robot any human has seen in ages. They're going on this journey together, and on this journey they're having all of these conversations about nature and life and what it is to be human in a way that is just so incredible. I have to reread this book. I have to own this book because it was so good. But this was actually like my third attempt reading it till I could really glean something from it. And I'm so glad I gave it that second chance, because otherwise I wouldn't have read this book, So it was kind of a surprise that I had tried reading this book a couple of times and just could not get into it, could not connect with it. And then once I was able to break that barrier, it has become an all-time favorite book. It's so incredible. I love this book. The next question is a book that has come out in 2024 that you have not read yet. And the first initial knee-jerk reaction to this is The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. But my God, there are so many books coming out that I want to read. But we're going to go ahead and stick with The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. And then I had seen a few videos coming out that are saying, I don't know if this book is that good. I even saw one that's saying that this is not like a fantasy book at all, and I was surprised by that. But I've also seen some other reactions to this book saying it is incredible and it has fantasy elements. So I don't know what to think about this book, but it's Leigh Bardugo. It's an automatic read. I love her Shadow and Bone series. I love her Six of Crows series. And Ninth House was touch and go. I didn't connect with that one as much, but either way, I'm very excited for this one. The next question is one goal you are succeeding at. And that would be my library reading challenge of 116 books. If you're following along, I have a little TBR basket, and all of the prompts for that challenge are in the basket. And I'll pick a prompt and I select a book and we read that for the vlog. So I'm doing incredibly well on that. And so far, I'm also on track to complete 200 books, but that one's kind of touch and go because you can get behind so fast. So I did the math, and in order to reach that goal, you'd have to read a half a book every single day. So one book every 2 days. But if you read a bunch of short books, it is doable. It can get out of control so quickly. Either way, at this very moment in time, I am on track, and that feels great. The last question is one goal that you need to focus on, and that would be finishing series. At the beginning of this year, I said I wanted to finish a bunch of series that I had started, and so far, I've probably started more series than I have finished. So I'm not saying I'm really going to sit there and focus on it. I do think there's a couple books that I'm ready, I'm geared up, I have the book to go ahead and read it. I'm just procrastinating because I'm getting distracted by a bunch of other stuff. So, like Throne of Glass series, that was one I did not intend to read until I met a group of women who are all reading the series, and I was like, okay, what better time than now to go ahead and start this series? So that's probably going to get finished before I pick up these final books in any of the other series that I'm working on. And then usually with these book tags, you're supposed to tag someone, but I'm really bad at picking specific people to tag. So if you're watching this and you want to do this tag, please do it and leave your video below in the description box so that I can go and watch it. Also, I'm probably the last person to do this tag. So you probably already have done this tag. Regardless, go ahead and share your videos with me. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye.